Have you ever felt like you hit a wall so hard that there's no way forward? Like failure has trapped you in a place where hope feels impossible? Maybe you've been there more times than you want to admit, caught in moments where everything seems to crumble, and the voice inside tells you to give up. That crushing feeling of falling short, of trying but still losing, is something that touches everyone at some point. But here's the truth that's often hidden beneath the pain. Failure is not a verdict on who you are. It's not the end of your story. It's part of the journey. Sometimes the hardest part, but never the final chapter. Failure can feel like the heaviest burden you carry, and the world around you can seem unforgiving. You start to question your worth, your purpose, even your future. The fear of failing again can paralyze you, making you doubt every step before you take it. You might feel isolated, thinking you're the only one stuck in this place of struggle and disappointment. But the reality is that failure is universal. Every single person who has ever achieved something meaningful has faced failure in some form. It's woven into the fabric of growth and success. Understanding this changes everything because it shifts failure from a place of shame to a place of connection and possibility. When you accept that failure is not a sign of defeat, but a natural, necessary part of life, something powerful begins to happen. Your mind starts to open and your heart grows stronger. Instead of fearing the fall, you learn to embrace it as a signal, a message that points you toward what needs to change. This is where courage lives, not in never failing, but in rising every time you do. The struggle you face today is building strength you can't yet see. It's shaping resilience, teaching lessons no easy success ever could. Imagine what it would feel like to meet failure not with fear, but with curiosity and determination. To see every setback as a stepping stone rather than a stopping point. There's a deep, almost hidden reward in this perspective, a freedom that comes from knowing your value isn't tied to perfection or constant wins. When you begin to see failure as a teacher, not a jailer, you unlock a power inside yourself that can't be taken away. This power fuels growth, fuels hope, and fuels the bold steps you're ready to take. If you stay with this message, if you lean into it fully, you'll discover a path where struggle turns into strength and weakness transforms into resilience. You will learn how to break free from the cycle of fear and doubt and claim the future you deserve. So keep listening. Your next step is waiting. And it starts with understanding one simple truth: failure isn't final. What if the way you see failure right now is the very thing holding you back from the strength you're meant to discover? Most people think failure means they've hit a dead end, that it's a permanent mark against their worth or ability. But what if failure is not a stop sign, but a signal, a message from your mind and body that something isn't working, and an invitation to change course, learn, and grow? When you begin to shift how you understand failure, everything changes. It's not about how many times you fall, but about what you do with each fall. Your brain doesn't treat failure as final. It processes it as feedback, a chance to adapt and improve. This is the science of the mind working in your favor, even when it feels like it's against you. Your brain is wired to protect you, which is why failure often feels so painful. It triggers emotions designed to make you avoid risk. But those same signals can be redirected into fuel, energy to rethink, reframe, and rebuild. When you train your mind to see failure as an opportunity rather than a threat, you unlock a new level of resilience. You're no longer at the mercy of fear. Instead, you become a strategist, someone who sees every challenge as data to adjust your approach. This is not wishful thinking. It's how successful people think, not because they never fail, but because they know how to respond to failure in ways that move them forward. Imagine your failures as stepping stones, each one teaching you something vital about your path. The frustration, the setbacks, the doubts, they are all signals guiding you toward the version of yourself that's stronger, wiser, and more determined. You don't have to be perfect or have all the answers right now. Growth happens in the struggle. The most important skill you can develop is the ability to embrace failure without letting it define you. This shift transforms fear into curiosity and doubt into action. Suddenly, what once felt like a burden becomes a source of power. Your mind becomes your ally instead of your enemy. This change is not easy, but it's worth it. When you choose to see failure as a stepping stone rather than a stumbling block, you take control of your story. You stop being a victim of circumstances and start being the author of your own transformation. It's about building a mindset where every challenge is a chance to prove to yourself that you can endure, learn, and grow. The strength you need is already inside you, waiting for you to claim it by changing how you perceive your struggles. You are capable of rewiring your mind, breaking free from patterns of fear and defeat, and stepping into a future shaped by courage and persistence. This understanding is the foundation of real change. It turns struggle from something to avoid into something to harness. When you begin to see failure as an essential part of success, you free yourself to take risks, to dream bigger, and to push harder. The power of your mind is limitless when trained to embrace failure not as an enemy but as a guide. The path forward is not about avoiding pain or mistakes, it's about growing through them. You have the ability to transform every setback into strength, every fall into a rise. Your future depends on the way you choose to think about your failures today. This is your moment to reshape your story, to find strength in struggle and keep moving forward with unwavering courage. The weight of failure can feel unbearable, like a heavy fog that clouds your vision and suffocates your spirit. The emotions it stirs, disappointment, shame, frustration, are real and intense. You might feel trapped in a cycle of self-doubt, questioning your abilities and wondering if you are enough. These feelings are not signs of weakness, they are the mind and heart's natural response to loss and unmet expectations. Recognizing and accepting these emotions is the first step toward healing. It's okay to feel broken, to feel lost, and even to feel angry. Suppressing these feelings only deepens the pain, but allowing yourself to fully experience them gives you the power to move through them. Emotional honesty with yourself builds the foundation for true strength. The human brain is wired to protect you from pain, which is why negative emotions can feel so overwhelming. Yet there is a remarkable ability within you called emotional regulation, the skill to acknowledge your feelings without being controlled by them. When you learn to observe your emotions without judgment, you create space for clarity and calm. This doesn't mean ignoring pain, it means meeting it with compassion and understanding. Through this practice, the heaviness of failure loses its grip. You begin to see emotions as signals, not sentences. Each feeling becomes information, guiding you toward what needs healing, what requires change, and what calls for patience. When you stop running from the pain of failure, you unlock a deeper resilience. This is not a toughness born from avoidance, but a courage that grows from acceptance. Accepting your emotions as part of the struggle gives you a greater capacity to recover, to adapt, and to keep moving forward. The ability to regulate your emotions shifts the balance from being overwhelmed to being empowered. It's the difference between drowning in doubt and riding the waves of challenge. Emotional resilience transforms failure from a source of despair into a source of strength. This emotional strength also creates a connection to your inner self, a core of unshakable value that failure cannot touch. When you face your pain head on, you reveal the truth that your worth is not determined by success or failure, but by your existence alone. This truth is freeing. It allows you to separate your identity from your setbacks, to see yourself not as broken, but as whole and growing. Understanding this is crucial because many remain trapped by the belief that failure defines them. Breaking free from this false belief opens the door to radical self-compassion, a powerful force that fuels perseverance and transformation. Mastering your emotional world becomes a powerful tool for change. It gives you control over how failure affects you, turning it from a source of pain into a catalyst for growth. When you can face your emotions without fear, you reclaim your power. This internal mastery makes you unstoppable, because no external failure can diminish the strength you build within. The path to success is paved with moments of emotional challenge, but each moment is an opportunity to build resilience, deepen self-awareness, and renew commitment to your goals. By embracing your emotions fully, you step into a new level of courage, the courage to struggle, to heal, and to rise stronger every time. There is immense strength in embracing vulnerability, the willingness to show your true self, even when it feels risky or uncomfortable. Vulnerability is often mistaken for weakness, but it is the birthplace of courage. When you allow yourself to be seen fully, including your struggles and failures, you open a door to genuine connection with yourself and with others. This openness is transformative. It breaks down walls built by fear and shame and replaces them with authenticity and trust. By facing your pain without hiding, you claim your power and create space for healing and growth. The courage to be vulnerable rewires how you relate to failure. Instead of running from it or pretending it doesn't exist, vulnerability invites you to lean into the discomfort and learn from it. This act of bravery shifts your mindset from one of avoidance to one of engagement. It turns struggle into a conversation rather than a battle. When you embrace your imperfections openly, you no longer need to carry the burden of perfectionism or fear of judgment. This freedom lightens the emotional load and frees your energy for transformation. Vulnerability also deepens your connection to others. Sharing your struggles, even in small ways, creates bonds of empathy and understanding. It reminds you that you are not alone in your fight. This shared humanity is powerful. It dissolves isolation and builds resilience. Human connection acts as a mirror, reflecting your strength back to you when your vision is clouded by doubt. Supportive relationships provide encouragement and perspective, helping you see that failure is a temporary state, not a permanent identity. This openness demands honesty, not just with others, but with yourself. It means acknowledging your fears, mistakes, and limitations without judgment. When you cultivate this inner honesty, you create a foundation for real change. The mind no longer wastes energy on denial or avoidance. Instead, it focuses on growth and solutions. You become your own ally, capable of recognizing patterns that hold you back and making conscious choices to break free. Vulnerability sharpens your awareness and fuels self-compassion, which is essential for sustained courage. Choosing vulnerability also ignites your creativity and problem-solving ability. When you drop the mask of invincibility, you invite new perspectives and possibilities. This openness to learning and adaptation is the engine behind resilience. It empowers you to experiment, take risks, and embrace failure as feedback rather than a verdict. Vulnerability turns challenges into opportunities for reinvention and growth, fueling an unstoppable drive forward. At its core, vulnerability is a radical act of strength. It requires trust in yourself and in the process of growth. It asks you to stand tall in your humanity, knowing that your value is not diminished by your struggles. When you choose vulnerability, you transform failure from a source of fear into a source of power. This courage to be real, to face discomfort, and to reach out connects you deeply to your purpose and potential. It is the key that unlocks the door to lasting resilience and true transformation. Embrace it fully, and you will find a strength in struggle far greater than you ever imagined. Failure carries lessons hidden beneath its surface, waiting for those willing to look closely enough to see them. Each setback, each mistake, contains essential truths that can reshape your path and fuel your growth. The challenge lies in shifting your focus from the pain of failure to the insight it offers. When you start to view failure as a teacher rather than an enemy, you unlock a powerful mindset, one that transforms obstacles into opportunities. This perspective fuels resilience and ignites a hunger for improvement. It turns every struggle into a stepping stone rather than a stumbling block. To do this requires intentional reflection, asking yourself honest questions about what went wrong, what can be done differently, and what strengths you uncovered in the process. Learning from failure demands humility and curiosity. It means accepting that you don't have all the answers and that growth comes from embracing the unknown. This openness fosters mental flexibility, allowing you to adapt instead of resist change. You gain the ability to reframe challenges not as threats, but as vital feedback. The power of this shift is enormous. It rewires your brain to focus on solutions and progress rather than dwelling on defeat. Instead of fearing mistakes, you begin to welcome them as signposts guiding you toward your next breakthrough. Reflection is not a passive process, but an active one. It calls for discipline and courage to face uncomfortable truths without giving in to self-criticism or despair. The goal is not perfection, but progress, small, steady steps forward fueled by lessons learned. When you reflect deeply, you begin to recognize patterns that have held you back and identify strengths you may have overlooked. This awareness becomes the foundation for strategic action, deciding what to keep, what to change, and what to let go. Each insight gained is a piece of the puzzle that moves you closer to your true potential. The emotional reward of learning from failure is profound. It replaces feelings of helplessness with a sense of control. You realize that failure is not a final verdict, but a moment of clarity, a chance to reset and realign with your goals. This understanding fuels hope and perseverance, the essential ingredients to overcome even the toughest setbacks. When you internalize this mindset, failure loses its power to define you and instead becomes a catalyst for transformation. Every successful person, every breakthrough, every moment of growth is built on countless lessons from failure. These lessons are the quiet forces behind visible success. They teach patience, resilience, and wisdom. They remind you that strength is not about never falling, but about rising stronger each time. By embracing failure as a hidden teacher, you open the door to continuous growth and lifelong learning. You become unstoppable because you have learned how to turn struggle into strength, disappointment into determination, and setbacks into setups for your next rise. This mindset is the foundation of your transformation and the key to unlocking your greatest potential. Hold on to it fiercely. The way you talk to yourself in moments of failure can either break you or build you. Your internal dialogue, the voice inside your head, is one of the most powerful forces shaping how you respond to struggle. Negative self-talk traps you in cycles of doubt and fear, convincing you that failure defines your worth or your future. But the truth is, your words to yourself can be rewritten. When you choose to speak with kindness, patience, and encouragement, you create a mental environment that fosters growth instead of collapse. This simple yet profound shift rewires your brain to respond to failure not with judgment, but with understanding and resolve. Self-compassion is not about making excuses or avoiding responsibility. It is about treating yourself with the same care and respect you would offer to a close friend who is hurting. When you stumble, self-compassion reminds you that imperfection is part of being human. It offers grace, not guilt. This creates a psychological safety net, allowing you to take risks, learn from mistakes, and keep moving forward without the paralyzing weight of shame. The mind that is nurtured with kindness becomes stronger, more resilient, and better equipped to handle challenges. Changing your self-talk takes awareness and practice. It starts with recognizing when you are being harsh or critical and consciously shifting your language to something more supportive. Instead of "I failed, I'm not good enough," try "I faced a setback, but I'm learning and growing." This subtle change reduces stress and activates parts of your brain linked to motivation and problem solving. Over time, positive self-talk becomes an automatic habit, reinforcing a mindset of courage and persistence. When you combine self-compassion with deliberate effort, you build a powerful feedback loop. Encouraging thoughts fuel positive actions, which lead to small successes, further strengthening your belief in yourself. This cycle creates momentum, making it easier to confront future challenges with confidence. Your inner voice becomes a coach, not a critic, a source of strength rather than doubt. This transformation in how you speak to yourself directly impacts your ability to bounce back from failure. The softer, more supportive your internal dialogue, the quicker your recovery. You stop fearing failure because you know you will treat yourself with kindness regardless of the outcome. This freedom allows you to take bold steps toward your goals without being paralyzed by the possibility of falling short. Ultimately, self-compassion nurtures the courage to embrace failure as a natural part of growth. It breaks the cycle of self-judgment and opens the door to self-acceptance. This acceptance does not mean settling for less. It means recognizing your inherent worth while pushing yourself to improve. It creates a balanced mindset where strength and softness coexist, enabling you to rise stronger after every fall. Your words have the power to transform your experience of failure from a source of pain into a catalyst for profound personal growth. Embrace that power, and you reclaim your ability to keep moving forward with unwavering courage and resilience. The journey toward transforming failure into strength demands patience, a kind of patience that reaches deep inside and roots itself in the belief that growth cannot be rushed. Too often, the pressure to succeed quickly clouds our vision and steals our joy. We forget that progress is rarely a straight line, and that the slow, steady work of change is where true transformation lives. When you cultivate patience, you allow yourself the grace to stumble without judgment, to rise again without desperation, and to keep moving forward even when the path feels unclear or daunting. This patience is not passive waiting, it is active endurance, a commitment to keep showing up for yourself day after day, no matter how small the steps may seem. Patience shifts your relationship with time and with failure itself. Instead of seeing setbacks as signs of permanent defeat or wasted effort, you begin to understand them as essential parts of a longer process. This mindset reduces frustration and increases resilience because you know that every struggle is building something deeper within you, strength, wisdom, and endurance that no quick fix could provide. When you embrace patience, you accept that mastery and success come through consistent effort over time, not instant results. This acceptance frees you from the toxic cycle of disappointment that often follows unmet expectations. The power of patience also lies in its ability to quiet the inner critic. When you are patient with yourself, you silence the harsh voice that demands immediate perfection or flawless success. Instead, patience invites compassion and understanding. It helps you appreciate your journey for what it is, imperfect, challenging, and profoundly human. This gentle attitude softens the impact of failure, making it easier to bounce back and keep striving toward your goals. Patience nurtures a mindset where setbacks are not disasters, but temporary pauses, opportunities to rest, learn, and recalibrate. Developing patience is a practice that requires conscious effort. It means reminding yourself that growth takes time and that every moment of struggle has value. It means resisting the urge to compare your progress to others or to an unrealistic timeline. Instead, you focus on your own path, trusting that the slow and steady work you do now is laying the foundation for lasting change. This trust fuels perseverance even when the road ahead feels uncertain or overwhelming. When patience becomes part of your inner toolkit, you gain a powerful advantage over fear and frustration. You stop rushing, stop forcing, and start trusting. Trusting that your efforts are meaningful, that your resilience is growing, and that your breakthrough is on its way. This trust transforms struggle from a source of despair into a source of hope. It strengthens your resolve and deepens your commitment to yourself and your dreams. Patience is not just a virtue, it is a vital ingredient in the alchemy that turns failure into strength and struggle into transformation. Embrace patience fully, and you unlock the power to endure, evolve, and ultimately thrive. Every moment of struggle carries a choice, a decision to surrender to defeat or to rise with renewed determination. This choice is the fulcrum upon which your future balances. It's not about denying the pain or pretending failure doesn't hurt. It's about making a conscious commitment to keep moving forward despite that pain. Within you lies a deep well of courage that is activated not by ease but by adversity. When you recognize that the power to persist lives inside you, no external obstacle can hold you back. This inner strength is forged in the crucible of hardship and refined through every challenge you face. Choosing to persist means embracing discomfort, uncertainty, and even fear, knowing these emotions are signals of growth, not threats to your survival. Resistance is natural, but resistance is also temporary. It loses its grip when you redirect your focus from what scares you to what you want to create. This shift, away from fear and toward purpose, energizes your spirit and strengthens your resolve. Purpose acts like a compass, guiding you through the darkest moments and reminding you why your journey matters. When purpose is clear, perseverance becomes a natural response, not a struggle. Persistence also rewires your brain, building neural pathways that increase your capacity to endure and thrive. Every time you push through difficulty, your brain learns to associate challenge with growth instead of pain. This rewiring strengthens your resilience, making future obstacles less intimidating. The more you persist, the more confident you become in your ability to handle whatever life throws your way. This confidence is not arrogance. It is a grounded belief in your own capacity to overcome, rooted in repeated proof of your strength. At its core, persistence is an act of faith. Faith in yourself, in the process, and in the unseen future you are working to create. It requires trusting that every step forward, no matter how small or difficult, brings you closer to your goals. This trust fuels a steady rhythm of effort that compounds over time, turning even the smallest actions into powerful momentum. The energy generated by persistence is contagious. It inspires those around you and creates a force that propels you beyond what you once thought possible. It's important to remember that persistence does not mean pushing blindly or ignoring the need for rest and reflection. True persistence balances effort with wisdom. It includes knowing when to pause, reassess, and adjust your course. This balance prevents burnout and keeps your journey sustainable. It honors your well-being while maintaining unwavering commitment to your vision. Persistence is not stubbornness, it is disciplined flexibility combined with relentless determination. When you cultivate this kind of persistence, failure loses its power to stop you. Instead, it becomes fuel for your fire, a signal that you are pushing your limits and expanding your potential. This mindset transforms every setback into a setup for success and every struggle into a step toward mastery. Your ability to persist defines the trajectory of your life. It shapes not only what you achieve, but who you become. Choose persistence and you choose to rise again and again, stronger, wiser, and more unstoppable than ever before. The power to redefine your identity lies within your hands. Failure may feel like a verdict etched into your being, but it is not a label that must stick forever. You are not your mistakes, your setbacks, or your moments of doubt. Instead, you are the person who rises after falling, the one who chooses to learn, grow, and keep moving forward. This is the essential truth that sets the foundation for lasting transformation. When you reclaim your narrative, you take control of how failure shapes you, no longer as a prison, but as a catalyst for becoming stronger and more resilient. Your identity is not fixed, it is fluid and evolving. Every choice you make, especially in the face of struggle, rewrites the story you tell yourself about who you are. This is a profound act of empowerment. You decide whether failure defines you or refines you. When you see yourself as a work in progress, capable of change, you free yourself from the weight of past mistakes. This shift creates space for new beliefs and new possibilities to emerge. Your past does not dictate your future, it informs it. The power lies in how you respond. Redefining your identity requires deep honesty and courage. It means confronting the limiting beliefs that have held you back and questioning their validity. It calls for a willingness to shed old self-images that no longer serve your growth. This process can be uncomfortable because it challenges the familiar, but discomfort is the gateway to transformation. By choosing growth over comfort, you open yourself to becoming the person you were meant to be, stronger, wiser, and more aligned with your true potential. This transformation also involves cultivating a mindset of self-acceptance. Accepting yourself fully, including your flaws and failures, does not mean settling or giving up. Instead, it is the foundation from which real change begins. When you accept yourself as you are, you stop fighting an internal battle and start directing your energy toward purposeful action. Self-acceptance reduces the inner conflict that drains motivation and creates clarity, focus, and peace. It strengthens your resilience by providing a stable base from which to grow. Your evolving identity becomes a source of power, fueling your motivation and determination. Each small victory reinforces your belief in your capacity to overcome challenges and build the life you desire. This positive feedback loop creates momentum that propels you forward. The more you align your actions with your new identity, the stronger and more authentic you become. You begin to live not by past failures, but by the future you are actively creating. Remember, the process of redefining yourself is ongoing. It requires patience and persistence to keep shedding old stories and embracing new truths. This continual evolution is a testament to your courage and resilience. It proves that failure is never final. It is simply a chapter in a much larger story of growth and transformation. Claim your power to rewrite that story every day, and you will find the strength to rise beyond any struggle and the freedom to become who you truly are. True transformation begins when you embrace the power of choice, the daily decision to take control of your mindset, your actions, and your future. No external circumstance can force you into defeat unless you allow it. The moment you realize that you are not a victim of your failures, but an active participant in your growth, everything shifts. This realization ignites a fire within, a relentless drive to move forward despite setbacks. The power of choice is your greatest weapon against the paralyzing grip of failure because it places your destiny firmly in your hands. Every day presents an opportunity to choose how you respond to struggle. You can let it define you, or you can define yourself through it. This choice is not always easy. It often requires courage to push past fear and doubt. But with every small decision to rise again, you build a reservoir of inner strength that makes the next challenge easier to face. This momentum creates a cycle of empowerment where each victory over adversity increases your belief in your own resilience. The power of choice fuels this upward spiral, transforming obstacles into catalysts for growth. Understanding this power also means recognizing that your thoughts shape your reality. The beliefs you hold about yourself and your potential directly influence your actions and results. When you choose to focus on possibility instead of limitation, you open doors that were previously hidden by fear or doubt. Your mindset becomes a fertile ground where hope and determination take root. This mental shift is essential because it rewires your brain to look for solutions instead of problems, opportunities instead of failures. The power of choice extends to the very way you think, empowering you to create a mindset that supports your growth and success. Choosing to act, even imperfectly, is another vital part of this power. Action is the bridge between where you are and where you want to be. Waiting for the perfect moment or flawless plan often leads to stagnation. But when you decide to move forward despite uncertainty, you send a clear message to your mind and body. You are committed to growth. This commitment activates motivation and builds confidence, creating positive momentum. Each step, no matter how small, carries you closer to your goals and solidifies your belief in your ability to overcome failure. This power to choose also fosters responsibility and ownership. It reminds you that while you cannot control every external event, you can control your responses. This ownership transforms challenges from external threats into internal opportunities. You become the author of your story, not a passive reader. This shift creates a profound sense of agency and empowerment, fueling a relentless drive to pursue your dreams with unwavering focus. Embracing the power of choice means living with intention, courage, and resilience. It transforms failure from a final endpoint into a necessary part of your journey toward greatness. Every struggle becomes an invitation to choose growth over fear, action over hesitation, and strength over surrender. When you fully claim this power, you unlock a limitless potential within yourself, a power that turns every failure into a stepping stone on the path to your most extraordinary life. The strength to keep going when everything inside you wants to give up comes from cultivating unwavering belief in yourself and your purpose. This belief is not blind optimism. It is a deep-rooted confidence built on the understanding that setbacks are temporary and growth is inevitable when you refuse to quit. When your belief is anchored in reality and fueled by persistence, it becomes unshakable. It empowers you to stand tall in the face of adversity, to see failure not as a reflection of your worth, but as a necessary step towards success. This belief is a source of endless energy and resilience, driving you forward even when the path seems darkest. Belief in yourself transforms how you experience struggle. Instead of feeling like a victim to circumstances, you see challenges as invitations to rise stronger. This mindset shifts your focus from what has gone wrong to what can be done next. It rewires your brain to seek solutions and opportunities rather than dwelling on problems. This focus on possibility opens new doors and reveals paths you may have missed when clouded by doubt and fear. The more you nurture this belief, the clearer your vision becomes and the more motivated you feel to pursue your goals relentlessly. Building this kind of belief requires daily commitment and practice. It means reminding yourself of your strengths, your past victories, and your capacity to learn and adapt. It involves replacing self-doubt with affirmations of your potential and your right to succeed. This practice rewires your neural pathways, reinforcing positive thinking patterns that support your growth. With time, these thoughts become automatic, forming the foundation of your identity as someone who perseveres and thrives. This mental habit strengthens your emotional resilience and fuels your motivation. Belief in your purpose is equally crucial. When your goals are aligned with your deepest values and passions, your drive becomes unstoppable. Purpose provides meaning to your struggle, transforming hardship into fuel for your journey. It acts as a beacon that guides you through uncertainty and pain, reminding you why every effort matters. When you are connected to a purpose larger than immediate success or failure, you tap into a profound source of strength that transcends momentary setbacks. This connection creates a sense of fulfillment and motivation that sustains you through the hardest times. This belief, rooted in self-trust and purpose, also changes your relationship with fear. Fear no longer paralyzes you, but becomes a signal that you are pushing your boundaries. It becomes an indicator of growth rather than danger. This reframing reduces anxiety and strengthens courage, allowing you to face challenges head-on. Fear becomes a companion on your path, not an enemy to avoid. When you cultivate unshakable belief in yourself and your purpose, failure loses its power to stop you. Instead, it becomes a stepping stone, a necessary experience that sharpens your resolve and deepens your growth. This belief is the foundation upon which your resilience is built, the driving force that keeps you moving forward with relentless determination. Embrace this belief fully, and you unlock the limitless strength within you to transform every struggle into triumph. Growth demands that you confront discomfort head-on, knowing that pain is not the enemy, but the gateway to your greatest breakthroughs. Every time you resist discomfort, you shrink your potential. But when you choose to lean into the unease, you expand your capacity to handle life's challenges. Discomfort is a signal that you are pushing past your comfort zone, moving toward the person you are becoming. It is the proving ground for courage, where true transformation occurs. The willingness to embrace discomfort separates those who stagnate from those who soar. This process requires shifting how you interpret pain and struggle. Instead of seeing discomfort as punishment or failure, view it as evidence of progress. Your body and mind may resist, but this resistance is part of the growth cycle. It signals that your boundaries are being stretched and new neural pathways are being formed. Each moment of discomfort strengthens your resilience and rewires your brain for higher performance. The more you accept discomfort as a necessary part of growth, the more fearless you become in pursuing your goals. Discomfort also teaches valuable lessons about your limits and strengths. It reveals what fears or beliefs have held you back and invites you to challenge them. Each time you face discomfort and move through it, you rewrite the story of what is possible for you. Your identity expands to include someone who can endure hardship and still keep moving forward. This expanded identity becomes a source of pride and motivation, fueling your desire to keep pushing beyond what you thought you could endure. Understanding that discomfort is temporary changes how you respond to it. Pain feels intense in the moment but fades with time. Holding on to the awareness of its temporary nature creates space for hope and perseverance. It allows you to endure the present without losing sight of the future you are working toward. This perspective prevents despair from taking root and keeps your mind focused on solutions instead of setbacks. Choosing to embrace discomfort also builds emotional strength. It cultivates patience, persistence, and self-compassion. You learn to be kind to yourself in moments of struggle, recognizing that growth is rarely linear. Setbacks are part of the process, not a sign of failure. This compassion reduces the harsh inner critic that can sap your motivation and replaces it with a supportive inner voice that encourages you to keep going. The path to your greatest achievements is paved with discomfort. It challenges you, tests your resolve, and forces you to grow in ways comfort never could. When you commit to embracing discomfort, you unlock the door to your fullest potential. You become unstoppable, not because you avoid pain, but because you have learned to use it as fuel. This shift transforms struggle from a barrier into a bridge, carrying you toward the life you were meant to live. Every great transformation is anchored in relentless persistence, the refusal to surrender no matter how many times you stumble or how heavy the weight of failure feels. Persistence is the quiet force that pushes you forward when excitement fades and motivation wavers. It is the muscle you build through consistent effort, discipline, and faith in your journey. Without persistence, even the clearest vision and strongest belief will falter. This steady, unyielding commitment becomes your shield against discouragement and your engine for progress, allowing you to rise repeatedly, stronger and more determined each time. Understanding persistence as a skill, not merely a trait, gives you the power to cultivate it deliberately. Persistence isn't about perfection or never falling. It's about showing up again and again despite setbacks. It means developing habits that keep you moving forward, even when the path is unclear or success seems distant. This daily dedication builds momentum, creating a force that carries you beyond temporary failures and self-doubt. Each small step forward, taken persistently, compounds into remarkable progress over time. Persistence also rewires your brain. When you persist, you strengthen neural pathways associated with resilience and problem solving. This mental rewiring enhances your ability to cope with adversity and adapt creatively to challenges. It shifts your mindset from fixed limitations to growth and possibility. The more you persist, the more you train your brain to see obstacles not as dead ends, but as puzzles to solve and lessons to learn. This shift propels you towards success with greater clarity and confidence. This unshakable commitment to persist fuels emotional endurance as well. It builds patience and tolerance for discomfort, allowing you to withstand frustration and setbacks without losing heart. Persistence teaches you that failure is not rejection, but feedback, a necessary part of refining your approach and growing stronger. This perspective transforms struggle from a source of despair into a valuable guidepost on your path. The emotional resilience built through persistence equips you to face any challenge with steady resolve and calm focus. In the face of persistent effort, hope grows. Hope is the light that guides you through uncertainty and difficulty. It is the belief that your actions matter and that change is possible, even when results are not immediate. Persistence and hope work together, each fueling the other. Hope sustains your spirit when persistence requires sacrifice, and persistence proves your hope is not in vain. This dynamic partnership strengthens your willpower and deepens your commitment to keep moving forward. True persistence requires self-trust. It demands that you believe in your capacity to overcome and in the value of your goals. This trust acts as an anchor during turbulent times, preventing discouragement from pulling you under. When you trust yourself, you are more willing to take risks, learn from failure, and maintain your effort regardless of external circumstances. This self-trust is a powerful internal resource that empowers you to turn setbacks into stepping stones. When you embrace persistence as a way of life, failure loses its finality. It becomes part of a larger journey defined by growth, learning, and relentless pursuit of your purpose. This steadfast commitment transforms struggle into strength and fuels a transformation that no obstacle can stop. Persistence is not just enduring, it is thriving through every challenge, proving that failure is never final. Every step toward your dreams is a choice to confront uncertainty with courage, to walk forward despite fear and doubt whispering in your ear. Courage is not the absence of fear, but the decision to act in its presence. It is the inner fire that burns brighter when challenges loom large, compelling you to move through the discomfort rather than retreat. This bravery, born from the refusal to surrender, builds strength not just in moments of triumph, but in the quiet persistence of daily struggle. Courage transforms fear from a paralyzing force into a powerful motivator that drives you closer to your true potential. When you embrace courage as a constant companion, it reshapes your relationship with failure. Instead of shrinking from mistakes, you see them as necessary trials that refine your character and sharpen your skills. Each failure becomes a stepping stone, a signal that you are daring greatly and stretching beyond familiar limits. This perspective gives you permission to take risks, knowing that growth is forged in the crucible of challenge. Courage then becomes a muscle strengthened every time you step outside your comfort zone and face the unknown. This courage is rooted in self-awareness, knowing your values, your purpose, and the vision that pulls you forward. When your actions align with this inner truth, fear loses much of its power. You are less likely to be swayed by doubts or external judgments because your focus is anchored in what truly matters. This clarity fuels a deep confidence that empowers you to keep moving, even when the path is foggy or the outcome uncertain. It grounds your courage in authenticity, making it more resilient and enduring. Facing fears with courage also transforms the way you experience pain and discomfort. Fear often signals a perceived threat to your identity or security. When met with courage, this threat is reframed as an opportunity for growth. Pain becomes a teacher, discomfort a signal that you are expanding your boundaries. Each courageous choice to confront fear weakens its hold over you and strengthens your ability to handle future challenges with grace and power. Over time, what once seemed terrifying becomes manageable, and your courage deepens. Courage fuels action. It propels you from inaction to movement, from hesitation to bold steps. Without courage, your dreams remain distant ideas. With it, they become tangible realities. This energy ignites momentum that carries you through setbacks and obstacles, reminding you that every forward step is progress. Courage allows you to embrace imperfection, understanding that waiting for perfect conditions only delays your growth and success. It urges you to start now, to learn along the way, and to persist regardless of uncertainty. True courage is a choice made moment by moment. It is the quiet resolve to rise after failure, to speak your truth, and to chase your vision with relentless passion. When you live with this kind of courage, failure loses its sting. It becomes part of your journey, not the end of it. Courage transforms struggle into strength, fear into fuel, and doubt into determination. It is the heart of transformation, the force that empowers you to create a life where failure is never final but always a new beginning. Transformation begins when you reclaim control over your thoughts, recognizing that your mind is the battlefield where success or failure is first decided. Every challenge, every setback, every moment of doubt starts as a thought. You have the power to choose which thoughts to entertain and which to reject. This awareness is the foundation of true resilience. When you stop letting fear and negativity dominate your inner dialogue, you create space for hope, strength, and determination to take root. Mastering your mindset is not about ignoring difficulties. It's about responding to them with clarity and purpose that empower you rather than diminish you. Your mind often tries to protect you by focusing on what could go wrong, but this protection comes at a high cost. When fear-filled thoughts dominate, they limit your actions and shrink your world. You begin to avoid risks, to settle for less, and to accept failure as a final verdict rather than a temporary obstacle. The moment you take conscious control of your thoughts, you disrupt this cycle. You learn to replace doubt with curiosity, anxiety with preparation, and defeat with determination. This mental shift ignites a new kind of power, one rooted in your ability to steer your inner narrative toward growth and possibility. This shift requires practice and patience. Your brain is wired to notice danger and threats because survival depends on it. Changing this pattern means training yourself to notice opportunities and strengths instead. Every time you catch a negative thought and consciously choose a positive or constructive one, you strengthen new neural pathways. Over time, these pathways become your default way of thinking, making optimism and resilience your natural responses to challenge. This rewiring rewrites your story, turning struggle into fuel and failure into feedback. Taking control of your mind also means embracing responsibility for your emotional reactions. You cannot always control what happens around you, but you can control how you respond. This realization is liberating. It shifts power back into your hands, reminding you that your attitude, focus, and actions shape your experience more than external events. This mindset reduces helplessness and increases agency. When you feel in control of your mind, you feel in control of your life. The power of this mental mastery is profound because it breaks the chains of victimhood. It replaces hopelessness with empowerment and fear with courage. It allows you to face failures not as the end, but as temporary setbacks on a path that you are actively shaping. This control over your inner world creates an unshakable foundation for all other forms of strength, emotional, physical, and spiritual. It's the compass that keeps you aligned with your purpose no matter how stormy the seas become. Mastering your thoughts is the gateway to transformation. It is the conscious decision to refuse defeat before the battle even begins. It is the daily commitment to nurture hope, resilience, and courage in the face of uncertainty. When you claim this power, failure loses its finality and struggle becomes the forge of your greatest strength. You step into a life where your mind serves your dreams, not sabotages them, and where every challenge is met with the clarity and confidence needed to turn setbacks into breakthroughs. True strength is born not from ease but from struggle. It is forged in the fires of challenge, tempered by persistence and refined through the willingness to face discomfort head-on. When life pushes you to your limits, you discover depths within yourself that you never knew existed. This strength is not simply physical or visible. It is an inner power that fuels your ability to rise after falling, to keep moving when every part of you wants to quit. It is the quiet confidence that failure is not a verdict, but a vital part of the journey toward growth and success. This inner strength grows each time you choose resilience over surrender. Every moment you resist giving up, you add another layer to the foundation of your character. You build mental toughness, a muscle that grows stronger with use and is essential for navigating life's inevitable setbacks. This toughness is not about being unfeeling or rigid. It is about cultivating the flexibility to adapt and the courage to persevere. It teaches you that setbacks are temporary and your response to them shapes your future more than the events themselves. Strength also comes from understanding that vulnerability is not weakness, but a source of courage and authenticity. When you allow yourself to feel the pain of failure rather than suppressing it, you connect deeply with your own humanity. This connection fosters self-compassion, which softens the harsh judgment that often accompanies setbacks. Compassion creates a safe internal space to learn, heal, and grow without being trapped by shame or self-criticism. This balance of strength and vulnerability is the essence of true resilience. It empowers you to face challenges fully and move through them with grace. Embracing your strength means rejecting the illusion that success comes without struggle. The most meaningful achievements are rarely handed to us. They demand effort, sacrifice, and courage in the face of uncertainty. Recognizing this truth allows you to reframe hardship as a necessary ingredient of accomplishment. Each struggle becomes proof that you are progressing, that you are engaged in the deep work of becoming who you are meant to be. This mindset turns frustration into fuel and disappointment into determination. Building this strength also requires a sense of purpose, a clear reason why you endure. Purpose anchors you when the road is rough and motivates you to push through pain and setbacks. It transforms effort from a burdensome chore into a meaningful pursuit. When your why is clear and compelling, it energizes your resilience and sharpens your focus. Purpose ignites a fire that no failure can extinguish because it connects you to something bigger than temporary difficulties. Your true strength is a force that grows from struggle, nurtured by persistence, vulnerability, and purpose. It enables you to withstand the storms of life and emerge not broken, but transformed. This strength makes failure not a stop sign, but a turning point. It reminds you that no matter how hard the battle, you possess the inner power to rise, to heal, and to continue moving forward. When you claim this strength as your own, you step into a life where failure is never final, and every struggle builds the foundation for your greatest victories.